So it seems, as I'm recording this, that the AMPTP, the people that are responsible for all the guilds getting a fair shake, could not reach a deal with the Screen Actors Guild. Now, what that means, for the first time in over 6 decades, we're going to have a double strike. Now, I look at it, though, in a positive way. I've heard reports that for animation, that's not going to be that's not going to be, as affected as I think anybody thinks it will be. Animation is a completely different area. So in the long term, if they might have to rely, that being Hollywood and these studios, they might have to rely on animation. Because writers for animation, some of them I know are in the same category as the Writers Guild, but otherwise, there are some writers that I believe are in a different kind of situation. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but but as of right now, we're going to have a double strike. That's if, though, the National Board of the Screen Actors Guild allows it to happen, because they still got to vote on whether yay or nay it's going to occur. Now, the National Board may be in talks right now as we speak with the AMPTP and say, hey, look, you've got until the moment we walk out there and probably announce a strike to be, a strike officially to happen. You've got until this certain time frame to come up with a fair deal, or at least something that's going to be workable. And, I would not be surprised if at the last minute, if that is the case, if at the last minute, the AMPTP says, okay, fine, you'll get what you want. The real holdout here is Netflix, and that's the main finger point right there, is Netflix. They're the main holdout because, they don't want to do residuals, or at least they probably do, but not in the way that, people would expect. So they, along with some other streaming services that are in the same category, are kind of holding things up. It's like, from what I'm understanding with this, everything else is pretty much, going to be okay. And pretty much all the other deals and provisions that the people in the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild, pretty much everything they want is going to be fine. The things that are holding them up mostly are the streaming services and the residuals, as well as AI. AI, I think, will be one of those situations that will be agreed upon, like, okay, you don't want to use AI anymore? Fine, no problem. We can avoid that. But it's the residuals, and I think that's going to be the holdup. The other studios, I don't think will have a problem with it. The networks and all that won't have a problem with it. But I could see, honestly, the streaming services being the ones that are, causing the issue to be held up. Like, if they just come out and say, okay, fine, we agree to the residuals, things will be good. So everything else, I think, is pretty much set and ready to go. It's just that there's certain, services like Netflix, Apple, and other streaming platforms that are pretty much, not totally on board with, like, the residual part and everything. But as far as this strike goes, if the National Board for the Screen Actors Guild says, okay, do it, then I look at the fact that the actors' strike, I don't think will last too long. I think it'll be one of the more quicker strikes, because I think what's going to happen is the studios are going to realize, well, we got to get this out, but we have to do this, we have to do that, what do we do? And I think what's going to happen is they're going to have to end up basically agreeing to those terms, or at least some kind of term that's going to say, okay, we'll give you what you want partially, and if you agree to that, we'll work towards trying to give you the rest by the end of the year or something. I still think something like that's going to happen, like I mentioned before. Now, as far as the writer's strike goes, that one definitely seems to be more of a holdup. They understand what people want. And like I said, everything that they want is pretty much, a lock, of them getting, except, the streaming services and all that, and the residuals are, in my opinion, the big holdup. But from what I understand, from what people have been reporting, Deadline and all these other sources, these news outlets, it seems the studios are more like, yeah, writers, you can enjoy your strike where you can, enjoy your little free time, because before the year's out, you're going to have no choice but to come back to us. And that's pretty much going to be it. That's pretty much going to be it in their opinion. Basically, a lot of people have said that all the Hollywood studios that the AMPTP represents, pretty much the difference between what's going on with the actors and the writers is the actors, obviously, they'll be able to work something out. Might take a bit, but they'll be able to work something out. Well, the writers are more along the lines, just, I guess you could say, throwing a temporary tantrum with their strike. And it's a tantrum that's just going to blow over, continue to be reduced and be nullified as we approach the end of the year. And basically, from a financial standpoint, once bills and stuff, start, building up, and the finances for the writers start to run out to, keep up with the bills, keep up with the mortgages, the rent, that's when they're going to come crawling back. So, yeah, right now, the actors' strike seems to be more like, the actors will have leeway more so than the writers, but the writers pretty much, I'm pretty sure they're aware of it. I'm pretty sure they see this and realize this, and pretty much some members in that, situation are even bringing it up. Like, they'll, because you can't tell me that people in this writer strike are not, talking to the fellow writers and going like, yeah, guys, we can keep doing this all we want for days and days, but they're not going to budge, and they're going to wait until we run out of money. So what are we doing? So, yeah, pretty much the ones that might have more of an advantage in wanting to get what they want and really holding Hollywood in a pickle is the actors, if the strike gets approved by the National Board. The writers, on the other hand, they may be able to picket for the next several months if a deal isn't reached. But then that's when they're going to basically, according to studios, have to start crawling back and be like, okay, fine, we'll take whatever you give us. Because the money's going to run out. And the way the studios are looking at this, like I said, is just basically the writers throwing a temporary tantrum. And, whining and crying because they're not getting what they want. And sooner or later, they're just going to have to realize you can't always get what you want. You just got to get what you, get what you can afford, or get what you can take. But yeah, first time in a while, we might be getting a double strike first time in the past 6 decades. And we'll just see what happens. Again, I think the actors are going to have more leeway in getting what they want. And I also don't think those strike will last that long as, if it gets approved by the National Board. But the writer's strike, the Writers Guild, they might as well enjoy getting this out of the system because, if what the studios are saying on behalf of the AMPTP is true, if what the studios are saying is true, then the writers, like I say, they better just enjoy getting this out of the system, because before the year's out, they're going to just have to take what they're offered, and whether they like it or not. But give me your thoughts on the whole situation. Comment below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, super chats are open during the live chat. Until then, I am out.